And I remember when I started business in 2015, I was like, I wasn't that picky early on, where I was just like, man, people want to work for me. That's crazy. Like that, they kind of blew my mind. So, in that mindset alone costed me thousands of dollars and so many headaches and whatnot, because I didn't even know what I was looking for. So really know what you're looking for, and you're going to hold your standards to that and keep looking until you find the right people for your team. Maybe even if you hire people and you're good, always be recruiting.
When your leads are low and your sales are slow, who you gonna call? Brushbuster. Scaling up the game.
All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Brushbusters. My name is Jesse Tarrant. I'm the head coach at Painter Growth, and we got Coach Rich on with us today. No Mike today, so we're really gonna dance and flow and see what kind of vibes happen today. How you doing, Rich?
Doing great. Doing great.
All right. Well, for those of you watching on YouTube today, and I'm not sure how many people know, but I have basically moved to Mexico. So this is my view right now, and that's it's a byproduct of a lot of intentions, and it happened probably 3 years sooner than I thought it was going to happen. So it's pretty exciting times right now. But it's crazy what can open up when you within having a painting company and then creating the dream life that you want. And it's so cool that to share with you guys. Like, I'm absolutely living my dream life every day, and want to help as many of you guys listening today achieve your dream lives, whatever that means. So we got a bunch of letters today. Rich, anything else before we hop into some of the letters?
Well, I was going to say, just my view today is I got the mountains.
Oh, that's pretty good too. That's pretty good too.
Bluebird Day, and my family moved to the Western United States. We're in Western Montana. So similar, not at the same path as Jesse, but sold my last company and moved my family out west. So
love it. It's just the mass exodus from Canada, hey, down to other places. Anyways, let's get into it. So I'll read the first letter here. So, dear Brushbusters, I've just started my painting business and I'm looking for fast ways to generate leads. I know that this takes time, but I'd love some tips on how to get things moving quickly and start building momentum. What strategies would you recommend for somebody just starting out? Thanks. That's from Alexander from Michigan. All right, Rich, you want to start off?
Sure. Yeah. Good question. I mean, we literally in our momentum program have a tab for our clients where it's called quick cash tips. So that's what comes to my mind. So, I mean, there's a couple of things that can be done. First, call every single pending estimate from the last 30, 60, 90 days. So these are estimates that you presented but don't have a yes or no answer on. Call that list. I'm sure there's a few people that you still haven't heard from. Give them a call, text them, follow up repeatedly until you get an answer. So I'd say that'd be number one. Number two, call all of your past clients. If you've been in business for, a year, I would say, or more, call the people that you serviced even at the beginning of this year. Hey, are you looking to have any additional projects done? We're already booking for 2025. If you do, we'd love to give you guys a quote now. So I'd say that's kind of number two in terms of low-hanging fruit. And then what else? Call of your past leads. If you got leads that never converted to an estimate, give those people a call. You went through the effort of getting a lead in some way, shape, or form. You probably paid for the lead in some way, shape, or form. Call those people. Hey, you gave me your information a couple months ago, was never able to give you an estimate. Are you still interested in getting your project done? And then
love it.
I know this is one of Jesse's favorites. I think we call it whale hunting. So as a fisherman, I can definitely relate. But this is like, again, getting clear on your area, on the market that you serve. Look for like really large, super high-end houses. Drive to those places, knock on those people's doors with a great pitch, good attitude, and a smile, and ask them if they're have any painting projects that are upcoming.
Love it. So good. And I would say those are, especially the whale hunting one. I think for somebody just starting out is like probably like the easiest and low hanging fruit. So Alexander, if you've been, like Rich said, if you've been in business for a year and you do have some past contacts and past estimates, it's always the first place to look for everybody, really, because there's just so much low hanging fruit. And for low hanging fruit, uh, it's it's a question I ask a lot of our clients: is what is the lowest hanging fruit in your business? Which means, what are the easiest things that you can do to generate the biggest result in your business? And so those are the things that Rich is talking about right now. It's just a lot of low hanging fruit. If you're just like literally just getting started, like I would echo what Rich is saying on the identifying those projects and identifying the whale jobs. And what we mean by that is like big jobs, you absolutely no need painting, and go knock on the door and introduce yourself. And that's like the fastest and easiest way to fill up your calendar. A couple things as well. Actually, at another episode, Gavin and I finished when we talked about what we would do to if we were restarting our businesses today. And so that would be one of the first things that I would do, is just identify the areas, right? And then start introducing myself to those jobs that already need painting, because that's how I'm going to fill up my calendar for Friday and Saturday. That's the absolute shortest term and quickest result thing you can do. The next thing, if I was just starting out, one thing that I didn't really do that well that I would absolutely do this time, like if I was just starting out, is I want to find the guy or the gal that knows everybody. You know how there's an area and like there's always a guy or gal that knows everybody. And so what I would do is, find out those places. For me, I'm a golfer, right? So the first place I would go is a golf course, and I would start networking and find out who's the guy or the gal at this golf course that is the person that's going to connect me with everybody. And I'm, going to become really, really good friends with them, and just let them know, hey, I'm just starting my painting company. We're looking to take on some clients, and just introducing yourself a lot. So that's probably the first two things that I would do. Is I would, from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m., I would go whale hunting, at least Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That would probably fill up my Friday and Saturday, right? And then outside of that time is I'm going to go network and build the relationships with the people. And then the other thing that people also miss as well is just leveraging their existing networks and their existing friends and family. I'm curious. That's a good reflection question for myself. I bet you right now, and this is something I need to go do, I bet you less than 5% of my family and friends actually know what I do now. I haven't actually just told them hey, this is what I do now. So that'd be the other thing too, right? Just tell all your family and friends, open up your phone, go to your contact list, and start calling and texting everyone on that list, right? And then open up your Facebook. People still use that these days, but I'm sure you have a lot of friends on there. Open up your Facebook and start sending out messages and just reintroducing yourself to people and starting those conversations. Because the number one thing that you can do as a business owner, especially starting out, is starting conversations. That's the number one metric that I would focus on, is how many conversations did I start today? And whether that's via text, via phone, via Facebook, via Instagram, whatever method, is just how many conversations did I start. And if you focus on that, again, I'd be aiming to hit 50 to 100 activities every single day when I was just starting out, and that would build so much momentum super quickly. So, any other thoughts there, Rich?
No, that was great. And I would say, Alexander, make sure that you have, if you don't have a logo yet, which you may, make sure that you have a good logo for your business, and you have some key marketing materials. It's like lawn sign, door hangers, business cards. Start with 50 lawn signs, a couple thousand door hangers, business cards, and then, like Jesse said, just 50 to 100 actions every week that you're just getting the word out that, hey, you have a painting company, looking for work, you're growing your business. And then the other thing is, wear your brand all the time. So again, t-shirt, sweatshirt, make sure that this is clean. So not one that, if you are on the tools that you're painting with, when you go, if you go to a coffee shop, in the morning before you start your day, just wear that. In the grocery store, again, when you're starting out, you just, like Jesse said, you just want to get the word out as much as possible. And literally just by wearing your branded logo all the time, that's another way where it's just, people will see your stuff as you start to build out your reputation in your neighborhood. And then We used to get leads like that all the time. When our guys were out getting coffees in the morning, it was like, hey, we need a quote, because they're wearing our like a nice jacket or a sweatshirt. So I'd say that's one of the things you can do in addition to all the stuff that Jesse said.
Yeah, that's awesome. The amount of like walk up leads when you have that is so underrated, right? When you're just out and about and in the field, it's amazing how many people just walk up and they see that your van, or they see your jacket, and they're like, hey, I need it. It triggers something in their brain to be like, oh yeah, I need painting. Wasn't thinking about it, but now that I saw you, I absolutely need it. One thing too that you mentioned, because getting signs and flyers and cards, obviously there's some capital investment to that, and I think a lot of people starting out their painting business are doing it bootstrapped, right? They're using either a little bit of their savings, or they might still be working some other jobs to afford getting going. What I would say is the fastest way to reinvest capital into your business. So for example, let's say you deploy the strategy and you go whale hunting and you start booking some of those jobs from the estimates, and you start getting connections, and you collect a 20% deposit. That's what we always recommend: collect a 20% deposit. Now, in your first year of business, you should think, ideally you're spending at least 10% on marketing in your first year of business of your goal revenue, right? And so if you take a 20% deposit, you could pull half of that out and reinvest into marketing, like right off the hop, and that's in alignment with your budget, and you're not going to get yourself into trouble, because you've already decided that, yes, I'm going to spend 10% this year on marketing. And so you can just take half that amount from the deposit and reinvest it into your marketing, and then keep the other 10% off to the side and save that for the materials when you need to buy that, so you don't get yourself into trouble of using all of it. But if you're very strategic with this, you can use that half of that deposit money to then reinvest to buy more signs, more flyers, invest in eventually building out a team, all those things that we're talking about. And use the deposit capital wisely. I've seen people get in trouble here where they use it all and they don't use it on marketing. Like they use it for rent or for their mortgage, and that's a big no-no. Yeah. So again, I want to be very clear on this: is you can use the deposit money. You can use half of it if you're collecting 20% deposit. Use half of it, which would be 10%, and it's got to go directly into marketing activities, because that's what's going to help you then get more leads and then book more jobs, collect more deposits, then produce it.
Jesse, one other thing, I'd be remiss if I didn't say it for Alexander. Alexander, on the next job that you book and produce, go out there and introduce yourself to 20 neighbors on that street.
Yep.
And just, again, hey, my name's Alexander. Here's my company name. We're actually painting one of your neighbors' places down the street. Are you interested in any painting projects? That's a great way. Just, again, put yourself out there. You're already on the street. You've established credibility. And I mean, we set a target of, like, if you market yourself correctly on a job site, which includes introducing yourself to neighbors, you can generate 3 leads if you do it the right way with the right attitude from every job that you're producing. So it's like that in your production, drive your marketing and sales.
Yeah. Yeah. And even more in my experience, right? It's like the whole mindset and what we teach in Paint and Growth is what you're talking about is the job site blitz, right? And the whole idea is you can actually turn one job into 3 every time. Right. And that's, if you deploy what you're talking about, that's like the 4th tactic in there, and we'll leave it there today. Nobody can tell the full tactic. So make sure you have 2 signs that are strategically placed, right? And I'll tell you a story. Just before I was leaving Vancouver, I was walking with my wife and we were in the neighborhood, and there was 2 massive houses getting painted, right? And we were walking by, and I like walked around those houses for a good 5-10 minutes trying to figure out which company it was. Couldn't figure it out. So how much opportunity are you just missing for people going out for walks in the evening, in the morning, and they don't even know that it's you? The houses look great. I was actually just genuinely curious what they're doing. So make sure you have 2 signs strategically placed, right? And then the next part is, I'd always get our painters to drop off about 50 to 100 wet paint flyers every day. The flyers are super simple. It says wet paint, we're painting at, and then we'd leave it at an area blank where our painters would write in the address. Come check out our work. We're doing free estimates, and we dropped it off, and we would hit houses like multiple times. Now the thing is if we would book one of the neighbors, again, we would hit those same houses, but it would have a different address on it, because people need to see your brand 24 times, even know that you exist, right? And then the third one is to incentivize painters, right? And so we incentivize all of our painters with $50 for every lead that they generate. And this one, Rich, I don't know your experience on this one, but I saw my most introverted painters once we implemented this, just starting conversations with everybody on the street. It was like it was the funniest thing in the world. They're like so motivated to start those conversations and to get those leads so that they could have that little bonus. And then the fourth one, which is the one that you mentioned, which is the absolute like ninja move. And if you deploy that right, it's like you compound those four things on top of each other. That's how you can really turn, one job into three every time and go introduce yourself to at least 20 of the neighbors. And like you said, it's super simple. You're just introducing yourself. You're the business owner. You live there. If you have a family or if you have kids, just resonate with them. And then, are you guys thinking of getting any painting done? And I think that's everything on that one. Yeah,
Totally.
All right. I think we got it. All right, Alexander. There's a few tactics there for you, and hopefully that helps. Rich, do you want to read the next one?
Sure. Okay, this is from Ian. Hi, Brushbusters. I'm finally getting off the tools and focusing on growing my business, but finding good employees has been a real challenge. It feels like there's a shortage of good painters out there, and I'm struggling to build the team I need. Do you have any tips for recruiting, hiring, or training new painters? Thanks for pointing me in the right direction. So, yeah, struggling to find good painters, which is can be a common thing.
I think it's once you solve the lead problem, this is the next really big problem, right? Is like, how do I actually get people to produce the work that I'm now booking and do it in a way that is upholding your standards? And especially if you've been a painter and you've been painting for a long time and you have your way of doing things, it's hard to let go of some of that control. The thing that gets me over the line of starting to delegate things is just understanding that at best, a lot of people when they first start is they'll maybe be able to do 80% of, what I can do. And I got to be okay with that. Because if I'm never okay with that, I'm never going to be able to grow and scale my business. Right. And eventually when you get good enough and you become a good enough leader, you actually hire people that are considerably better than you. Right. But that's not the first move. And you got to get over that first hump in the beginning. So let's go into his question. So attracting and retaining, I would say the first thing, I'll take the more meta version part of this, and then you maybe take the more
tactics. That's my bread and butter.
Okay, yeah. So we'll go to our strengths here. The first thing to attracting awesome people into your team is it starts with you. It starts with you, right? Are you somebody that people actually want to work with? Are you demonstrating? We call this the trust triangle, and there's 3 C's in the trust triangle. And this goes in sales and this goes in leading a team as well. The first one is character. So are you a good person people actually want to be around, right? That's the first C. Then the next one is competency. Are you competent? Can you actually provide jobs so that people can make money and an opportunity for them? Are you actually competent enough to do that? And then the third C is common sense of purpose. So do you actually know what the painters are looking for, how much money they want to make, what's important to them beyond the money, why they're motivated that way? And that's understanding their needs, just like you would in sales. And that shows that you can demonstrate common sense of purpose and then create an opportunity for them that's in alignment with that. And if you demonstrate those 3 C's, then you're going to form trust. And most of business is just about trust. Do you trust? Do the clients trust you to do the work? Do the painters trust you that you can provide an opportunity so they can pay their bills and build up their life and create an opportunity? So that's the first part that I would start is, are you demonstrating the 3 C's and building that trust? And then looking at yourself and your own habits, right? And being, basically being like, how do you be a badass? If you're a badass, you're going to start to attract other awesome people. And if you want A+ people on your team, you got to be like an A++ person. And I always just look at like the basic habits, right? Are you getting up when your alarm goes off, or are you hitting snooze over and over and over again?
That's a big one,
right?
That's huge,
right? Do you notice the difference? I've done this myself when I've actually done that. When I get up and the alarm goes off and I just get after it and I go to meditation. That's my routine. How my brain feels compared to hitting snooze a bunch of times, it's like a totally different level of clarity versus brain fog. Have you experienced that?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I almost fell back into the trap this morning, but then I was like, no, let's go.
Yeah, you got to get up and get after it. So look at that as a starting point. And then what is the first thing that you do when you wake up? Do you wake up and immediately start scrolling Instagram or scrolling social media, whatever platform that is these days? Or do you sit down? Do you take a few moments? Like I do about an hour of meditation to start my day, right? Not saying you have to do an hour, but do you take a few moments to allow yourself to wake up, to set your intentions for the day, to know what you actually want to get done in the day, and to call that in, right? Then what are you doing for your body? Again, it doesn't have to be a full 30-minute or an hour workout, but a simple breath work to get your body pumping, right? Or some push-ups, some sit-ups, any movement to inject energy into your body and raise your state, right? And then I like to read, right? I like to do a little bit of reading, and then I go into journaling. Now, those habits have kind of formed the foundation of a lot of what I do in the morning, what helps set up. But being super dialed in that has helped me attract amazing people into my life because they see how much I'm willing to take care of myself and to do the personal work myself, that they're super interested in raising their ability and raising their states. And the mindset that we had with our painting company was we're a personal development company first, and then we use painting as the vehicle to do it. And that was our entire ethos of doing that. And so we embodied every part of that. So I'd say that's more on the high level meta side of things. Rich, what do you have on the more practical, getting people in?
Yeah, all that stuff's great. So I would say, Ian, just sort of back to our last question, what Jesse said is when you're hiring out painters, and again, this is like a first, like this, you're taking that step in your business, I'd reach out to your network. Hey, text messages to people, friends and family, neighbors, social media. Hey, I'm looking to hire great people into my business. If anyone knows someone that's looking to work outside, work in a growing company, please send them my way. So I would start with that. Two, and building off of what Jesse just said, with being intentional, it's a really good exercise to sit down and map out who your ideal avatar is on who you want to bring into your company. I did that in my last business a few years in when I really invested a lot more into recruiting. And so, for example, how that looked for us was we had a rough age bracket, and we would hire people that were older under that, but it was this age range, someone that played team sports to some capacity growing up. That was important. Outgoing, has financial responsibilities. So has a phone bill, has an apartment or a house. So they're going to be motivated to show up to work even when things get tough. So again, we created those parameters for our business. Team sports, we did that because they're going to be working on a team. They're going to be working on a crew with other people. We wanted people that had experience in some type of setting doing that, and they could work well with other people. So that was sort of being intentional. And then, the practicality of it is hey, if you need to make one hire for your business, the hiring funnel for that is you should be doing at least 4 interviews. So you can choose between 4 people. And to get 4 interviews, you'll probably need to phone screen 12 people. So 3 phone screens per interview. And then you'll need to bring in, probably 20 to 30 candidates to sift through to even get those 12 phone screens. So that's how the funnel actually works. And so to do that, I would say, Ian, make sure that you have, a couple ads posted on some online forums in addition to your networking. So Indeed, we started working with Job Rep Painter Growth, and that's having some good success for some of our members. And the old school stuff like Craigslist and Kijiji. Get a good ad out there. Going back to what Jesse said with an attractive, job recruitment ad for your company. So it's in addition to painting, we will work on your personal and professional development. That's what sets you apart as a painting, as a business compared to all the other competitors you have in the marketplace. It's yeah, everyone can offer painting if they have a painting company for sure. It's what Jesse said, once he made that shift of hey, we're a personal development company that happens to paint. It's find what that is for your business. And you'll be amazed if you're intentional about that, how you will start to attract better people, especially if you can market that in your recruiting ads. So
that's interesting what you said too on the making it super unique. Because if you put yourself in the painter's shoes, right? And what are painters doing if they're looking for a job and they're scrolling? What are they doing?
Yeah, I mean, they're looking at their opportunities and kind of seeing what's out there.
Exactly. So if you go to any of these platforms, Indeed or Craigslist or Kijiji, whatever it is in your area, go look at how many opportunities that people are actually sifting through. So how are you going to stand out? What is the thing that if you're scrolling on there, it captures your attention? And then how do you translate that into your own job description? Because that's what those are the type of people that you're going to want to attract, right? Because people have options, and especially nowadays, right? Like there's so many options to choose from, and I think that that's just like really, really important to actually put yourself in either a subcontractor's shoes or into a potential employee's shoes and think about it from their perspective. Because to get, like you said, to get 4 interviews, you need 25 to 30 applicants. That's a lot of people. You got to get a lot of people to click on your ad and say, yeah, this is an opportunity that I want to explore.
Totally. And then, yeah, I'd say, and like, again, there's a ton of other tactics, but hopefully that gives you some initial things that you can build off of. And then again, once you get those candidates coming in, make sure that you've set the time aside in your schedule. If you're taking care of this recruiting for your first or second painter, you have time dedicated to invest in this process, because this is very, very important. So that was a lesson for me after my first year of business too, is like recruiting, like anything else in your business, it's an investment of time and money. But as we talk about in painter growth, it is one of the highest leverage tasks that you can do as a business owner, to recruit well and bring in good people to your company, to then again separate you from production if you're in these early stages, bring in great painters that you can train up and coach, and then they can take care of stuff. So then you're not on the tools. You're then focused on building your business, selling, etc. So yeah, when you get a good like all candidates, make sure you reach out to them right away, i.e. like within an hour or two. Again, this is setting you apart from the other competitors. Someone applies, you've got a good ad, you and then you reach out to them in a couple hours, like, whoa, this guy's on the ball. I think I might want to work for this guy. So
yeah, and a good hire in your painting business is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and a bad hire is going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars because you didn't find that good hire, right? And a lot of headaches. Yeah. So this getting good people on your team. I remember when I started business in 2015, I was like, I wasn't that picky early on, where I was just like, man, people want to work for me. That's crazy. Like that, they kind of blew my mind. So in that mindset alone costed me thousands of dollars and so many headaches and whatnot, because I didn't even know what I was looking for. So really know what you're looking for, and you're going to hold your standards to that and keep looking until you find the right people for your team. Even if you hire people and you're good, always be recruiting. Always, because you're going to be getting better as a leader, and you should always have ads running. You should always have recruitment tactics going, because you never know who's going to be potentially moving into your city, right? Like if Rich had a painter on his team and he lived in Montana, right? And let's say my company was in Vancouver, and this person was moving to Vancouver, and I wasn't running ads, and he had a rock star painter, I might totally miss out on this painter that Rich had trained and been a part of. Like that's a huge missed opportunity, right? So always, no matter where you're at in your business, even if you have all rock star crews, rock star subs and everything, always be recruiting, because you never know that person could come in and help. They could make a ton of money as you create the opportunity, and they could help you make hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of extra money. I had one subcontractor that I hired. He ended up running 3 crews, and he produced, I had him for 3 years, but each of those years he produced somewhere between $300,000 and $500,000 of work. One guy that I talked to, and then he had about 8 people on his team. That one relationship gross profited me between 150 and 250,000 a year. That one relationship. We didn't really talk too much about subs, but for those out there that are doing the sub model, like the number one place that I would go is just take all the business cards to the paint stores and start calling those people, right? Then I would post to platforms and go look at platforms like Craigslist and Kijiji and see who's advertising on there, because a lot of those people are subcontractors, right? And then you can reach out to them, right, and say, hey, I have a ton of work. Let's have a conversation, and to do that. But yeah, there's a lot of things you can do if you're going to go the employee route, right? pick your 3 tactics that you're going to go do. So if it's going to go network, then you're going to go post on those platforms, and then then you could do headhunting, right? And then go fill up that top of the funnel, and then let it ride out. All right, recruiting is a big topic. We can keep going, but I think I think we've
covered
that one pretty good. I think so too. All right, let's go to the next one. This one's about overcoming mindset blocks. So, dear Brushbusters, looking for some advice. Every time I'm about to take a big step forward in my business, I feel like my mindset holds me back. Even when the numbers show I'm capable of growing, self-doubt creeps in and I feel stuck. I know my business reflects who I am, and I'm here and for it to grow, and I need to grow too. Do you have any recommendations or resources that helped you develop the confidence or shift in your mindset? I'd love to hear what worked for you. Thanks in advance. This is from Beth from California. Man, this is, I think, my favorite question I've ever seen on here.
You say, Jesse, this got to be jumping out at you.
Yeah. So one of the coolest things to understand, and why I think business owners have a huge advantage in their life, is that your business is a reflection of you. Just like Beth has said. So she has amazing self-awareness. Most people don't realize that. They think something's happening in their business. And if you take that full responsibility, that 100% of every single thing that happens in your life is actually you. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, if you have a painter that is not underperforming, right, and they're having a dispute with a client on site and whatnot, that's actually that's you. You created that, and that's something that lives deep within yourself. That's getting then outward reflected in there, because you had all the events leading up to that point to set up that perfect situation that you booked that client and you hired that painter, and it all came together in this beautiful way that created this conflict. And that conflict is actually something that just lives deep within inside yourself, right? And these are the wounds that are on your subconscious mind that run 95% of every single thing that you're doing in your life. Your conscious mind is only about 5%, right? Now, everybody has these open wounds in their subconscious mind, traumas, things that come up, things that happen in their childhood, sometimes from this lifetime, sometimes from the previous lifetime. So just first and foremost is to have the awareness around this, and to know that every single thing that's happening in your business is just a reflection of something within yourself. And these things, they come up because they're ready to be healed. Okay, there's nothing wrong and there's nothing to fix. There's just things that are ready to be healed, and situations arise. And then how you handle the situation is going to determine whether or not you healed that or not. Because if you had that situation that I just described, and then you come on site and you just start, ripping into the painter, you don't handle the situation well, guess what? That situation is going to come up again at another time. Right? Because the universe gave you an opportunity to see if you could solve and resolute that of what has been living inside of you, and you didn't learn the lesson. So you're going to have to learn it again, and it'll keep coming up until you learn that lesson, right? So that's on the really, really deep stuff, because when you look at what I just said about the subconscious running 95% of your life, there's this thing called the reticular activating system, which is every moment, and don't quote me on the numbers here, but it's like your brain is taking on like somewhere like 4 billion bits of information, but your conscious mind only perceives about 4,000 of it. It's like a very, again, don't quote me on the numbers, but it's a very small percentage of your conscious mind. What that actually means is, in practice, Rich, have you bought in a car before?
Yes, I have.
Okay, what kind of car?
Chevy Silverado pickup truck.
Sweet. How many people the next day drove that same car?
So many.
Right? Because your brain has determined that car specifically is important. That's why. Because that's now what's coming in through your reticular activating system. That's what you allowed is important. That's why it's come to your conscious mind. And so if you think about the mindset blocks that you're having, right, these things that are living in your subconscious mind, if you just look at it from the conscious perspective, you're just going to keep hitting walls and keep sabotaging yourself over and over and over again. But if you actually start getting to the root of what's going on, so you say, what is it happening that you see your numbers growing in your business, and then all of a sudden you just stop taking action? And you stop taking the action. What is that that's living inside of you that is causing you to get in your own way, right? And then you can start to align and heal your subconscious and start to align it for the things that you want in your life. Because and the easiest way to start doing this is through affirmations and training your brain, right? Training your brain, just like when you buy a car, training what is important to let come through. Now, they did a study out there, and there's the average human has about 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. Rich, what percentage of those do you think are negative from the study? You have any idea?
70%.
It's 95%.
Whew.
95% of all human thoughts are negative throughout the day. So whether or not you believe in doing affirmations or not, guess what, Rich? You're doing it anyways.
Yeah.
And you're programming your mind 95% negative. Isn't that crazy? And so if you want to start to shift and start to move beyond these blocks and whatnot, you need to start to think, what are the things that I'm attracting into my life? And start to program those into your mind through reading affirmations, through writing affirmations, through listening to affirmations, so that you can train your reticular activating system for the things that are really important. Okay, early on in this call, we talked about whale hunting, right? And what that is spotting opportunities and whatnot. Well, when you train your brain for abundance and looking for opportunity all the time, you drive around in a neighborhood. If I drive around in a neighborhood right now, I'm going 20K, 15K, 12K, 15K, 20K, because I just see all that opportunity there because I've trained my brain that way, because that's important, right? But if you haven't trained your brain that way, you're not going to see that opportunity. Thus, you're not going to be able to take advantage of it, and you're going to keep getting in your own way. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah. So this is the stuff that I chat about all day long and whatnot. And I work with a lot of other founders and CEOs deep on this subconscious work. But a couple applicable strategies again that people can apply from this conversation is, number one, I think everything starts with meditation. Everything starts with being able to calm your mind down and just take a breath. There's another study out there, before I go too deep. I can't remember the study, but it was like 90% of people would rather get electrocuted than sit in silence for 3 minutes.
Yeah, well, especially with how many distractions that we have in our modern society now.
Yeah.
Sounds crazy, but I can totally believe it.
Yeah. So start with just taking a few moments and gathering your thoughts and allow yourself your brain time to download information, right? What do I mean by that? Because a lot of people listening might say, well, I can't meditate, right? And then you can't meditate because you're sitting there and you're closing your eyes and your brain's running wild. That is meditation. That's the first step, is just giving yourself the time to actually allow your brain to process that. And the idea is, as those thoughts come in, you just don't get attached to it and you don't go running down that trail with it. You just let it come up and then let it go, let it come up, let it go. And you take in so much external stimulus every single day, but you never give yourself your brain that time to actually download and integrate that information. So if you're out there right now and you feel like your life, everything is coming at you all day, every day, clients are coming at you, employees are coming at you, everything, your family, your responsibilities, everything's coming at you. You have the power right now to start to change that. If you start to take a few moments, take a few breaths, then what's going to happen over time here is your brain is going to start to settle. It's going to start to settle. And instead of everything coming out at you all the time, you're going to start to see things out in front of you. Okay. So for those of you not watching, you have your core, and then over to the left, you have your work and your painting company, and you can go do the actions there, and then you can come back to your center. Then you have your responsibilities, maybe as a dad or a mom, and you go do that, and then you come back to your center. Then you have your responsibilities to do your personal work, your personal development, and then you come to your center. Then you have responsibilities for your finances, and you go do that, and then you come back to your center. And it shifts your entire perception of the world. And the greatest gift that I always say that I can give people is just encouraging them to meditate, especially parents. Why do you think I say that, Rich?
Well, if I were to reflect back on our last couple of days of just chaos with our 2-year-old daughter,
yeah,
it's being a parent's a lot. It's stressful. We have limited sleep, so it's even more important to set aside those intentional times to just like relax, no distractions. Totally.
And because I know you really well and we chat all the time, the number one thing that you take pride and you love in your life is your family and your daughter, right? And when you meditate and things start to go out in front of you, your entire world and your perception of time starts to slow down. And so that's why I say the greatest gift that I could ever give to parents is encourage them to meditate, because it slows down time and the perception of time. So you have more perceived time with your kids when they're at the young age that they are, because there's nothing more important than that.
100%.
Right. So bringing this full back in for Beth here, right? Number one is just understand that everything is something that is living within inside yourself, and it's your opportunity to heal it, right? And every time something happens that that you're getting in the way, just take note of that and say, like, why is that occurring? Okay. And then start to work on it and start to heal whatever that situation is. And then to sit and meditate and just allow your brain the time to download information. It doesn't take, I do 1 to 3 hours of meditation a day. It doesn't have to be that. I've built that up over many years. You can do 5 minutes. You can do 10 minutes a day. I recommend doing it first thing in the morning and then last thing right before bed. Rich, do you know why that is?
Geez, you're putting me on the spot here. I'd say in the morning, which I've built out a morning routine over years of being intentional about it, is just it's so important to just, once you wake up, just like, again, being calm and then being proactive before your day starts. That's the morning piece. And then I'd say on the other end, it's like, before you go to sleep, to have a good sleep, is one, like your wind down routine. So you can get into a state of rest. That's what comes to my mind.
Perfect. And that's like the most practical and like an example from the neuroscience perspective. It's because right before sleeping, or right when you get up in the morning and then right before sleeping, you're in a theta brainwave state, which is the most programmable state your brain can be in. Right. In the theta brainwave state, so you go delta when you're sleeping, and then theta when you're just waking up or just going to bed, and then you move into beta, and then there's other states as you go along. But Rich, your daughter, until the age of 7, she's in a theta brainwave state when she's awake.
You mentioned that the other week.
Yeah. So that's why in the first 7 years of your life, and where a lot of these traumas come from, is those first 7 years of your life, because you're in that state that's highly programmable. So every single little thing that your parents did, that's what got built onto your subconscious mind, and those are the things that are ready to be healed in this lifetime. All right, again, just to I keep getting distracted, but for Beth here is to then you're going to do some meditations, and then start doing affirmations and start to train your brain for what you want your reticular activating system to start to see. So you're going to start to train it for abundance, right? Start to train it to see opportunity everywhere. Simple affirmations that when you say an affirmation, example would be like, I deserve to be prosperous and wealthy, and I feel really excited about it. You want to attach a feeling to whatever the affirmation is, because it makes it way more real. We're at time now. I know, Rich, you got to go. I got to go. I could keep going on this one for a while, but hopefully that was helpful for people. We might have to, come back to this question, Beth, on another episode, but that was super fun. And I appreciate everybody listening. If you want to come hang out and have more, these conversations are really starting to happen a lot within Pain and Growth now, where people are doing a lot of the deep work, which is creating unbelievable momentum for people's business and their life. Rich, you've seen it like crazy in the last few weeks here, especially since the mastermind.
Yes. Yeah.
It's been amazing, right? So you can come join Blueprint if you're ready to rock and roll. If not, you can also check out our school community. It's only about $97 a month just to get integrated, start chatting with us, and start building your businesses. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you again soon on another episode of Brushbusters.
Take care, everyone.